Hello my friends, welcome to my Energy Economist channel. We will talk about natural gas, EROI, declining, and sales in this video. Stay with me. Natural gas supplies 23.7% of global energy usage and has a current global EROI of about 10:1 for conventional gas fields. It was first treated as a useless byproduct of oil extraction, being flared off at the well site. No one has documented how much natural gas was wasted in this way, but the amounts must have been huge. The use of natural gas has grown rapidly over the past few decades. It is increasingly being used for space heating, cooking, generating electricity, and in the production of synthetic fertilizers. The latter use played a large part in the postwar Green Revolution, which facilitated the rapid growth of populations in many countries. Being a gas at room temperature, NG is primarily moved overland via pipelines. To transport NG by sea, it has to be cooled to -162 degrees Celsius, at which point it becomes a liquid that can be carried in specially engineered liquid natural gas, LNG, ships. This is an expensive process which offsets some of the energy provided by the natural gas thus transported. These comparative factors support the construction of pipelines over many thousands of miles between Russian production fields in Europe via the Ukraine and Poland. Despite these limitations, LNG has grown rapidly to become a quarter of the global natural gas export market. Presently, many countries with large NG supplies cannot utilize it all. A number of richer countries have heavily depleted their fields, and there are large pricing discrepancies between regional markets separated by water. It is currently 2 to 3 times as expensive to buy natural gas in Europe as it is in North America, while prices in the Far East are even higher. One possibility in gas-rich countries is to use LNG as a transport fuel to replace oil, a strategy which has been successfully used in buses, trucks, and ships. This could definitely be an option to reduce the impact of declining cheap oil reserves, providing some more time for society to find alternative fuels and living arrangements. On the other hand, if such substitution was applied extensively, it would significantly increase the demand for natural gas and thus speed up depletion of positive net energy reserves. In the next 10 to 15 years, significant increases in global natural gas production are possible. However, the net energy of many of the newer supplies is significantly less than the older fields, so increase in net energy will lag increases in gross production volumes. LNG can also be used as a substitute for oil as a transport fuel, especially for buses, trucks, and ships. Royal Dutch Shell is chartering 2 river barges which are designed to run on LNG and is also planning to provide LNG fuel stops along a truck route in Alberta, Canada. If such uses become widespread, they may soften the blow of falling oil production, but greater gas usage will certainly speed up the depletion of natural gas reserves. With the increasing impacts of climate change, any increases in production may also be limited by external constraints put in place to limit the number of heat-trapping gases emitted into the atmosphere. The very high short-term climate impact of methane, together with environmental issues affecting shale gas production, may mean that natural gas production comes under the same level of citizen resistance currently impacting coal production. Natural gas production provides about 24% of global energy usage. The outlook is for at least another decade of increasing natural gas production, but with probable reductions in EROI as more remote and difficult to produce deposits are utilized. The increasing transportation of liquefied natural gas, LNG, by ship also results in a reduction of the net energy available, as it consumes more than 10% of the energy embodied in the gas being transported. Coal production, which provides the balance of the fossil fuel supply, has increased rapidly in the past decade. The outlook is for continuing increases in coal production, but a likely reduction of net energy as lesser grades and deeper deposits of coal are used. As touched on above, the peak production of coal and gas may arrive sooner as oil supplies dwindle and all stages of exploration, extraction, and transportation become more and more expensive. If the gas purchaser is a company which distributes gas to domestic and industrial end users, he typically wants the producer to provide A guaranteed minimum quantity of gas for as long duration as possible, for ease of planning and the comfort of being able to guarantee supply to the end user, and peaks in production when required, e.g. when the weather unexpectedly turns cold. The better the producer can meet these two requirements, the higher the price paid by the purchaser is likely to be. In contrast to an oil production profile, which typically has a plateau period of 2 to 5 years, a gas field production profile will typically have a much longer plateau period, producing around 2/3 of the reserves on plateau production in order to satisfy the needs of the distribution company to forecast their supplies. The figure compares typical oil and gas field production profiles. If the distribution of gas in a country is run by a nationalized or state-owned company, there is effectively a monopoly on this service, and prices for gas distributed through a grid system will have to be negotiated with the distribution company. If the market for distribution is not regulated, then opportunities arise to sell gas to other customers and directly to consumers, perhaps including a tariff payment for transport through a national grid. This situation has arisen in the UK, where competition for gas sales has been encouraged. Gas producers can enter into direct agreements with consumers, ranging from power stations to domestic users, using the national distribution grid if necessary. Such a deregulated market increases competition between the distribution companies and thus regulates prices. When a contract is agreed with a consumer, some delivery quantities will usually be specified, such as daily contract quantity, DCQ, the daily production which will be supplied, usually averaged over a period such as a quarter year. Swing factor, the amount by which the supply must exceed the daily contract quantity if the customer so requests. Take or pay agreement: if the buyer chooses not to accept a specified quantity, he will pay the supplier anyway. Penalty clause, the penalty which the supplier will pay if he fails to deliver the quantity specified within the daily contract quantity and swing factor agreements. The figure shows the relationship between daily contract quantity and the swing factor. If, for example, a swing factor of 1.4 is agreed, then on any one day the customer may request the producer to provide 1.4 times the daily contract quantity. This means that the producer has to be confident that there is sufficient well potential and transport capacity to meet this demand, otherwise a penalty will be incurred. For most of the time, this means that the producer is providing a production potential, sometimes called deliverability, which is not being realized. As compensation to the producer for investing in additional capital to provide this level of redundancy, a higher gas price would be expected. If you want to learn more about natural gas, EROI, declining, and sales, you could do so in my book, Economics of Oil and Gas Production, which is published on Amazon. Check it out at the link in the description. Please take a second to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and do not forget to also hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and goodbye.